Hello, everybody. I got a bit held up, so I haven't even heard all of your chat. How are you all? Thank you, everyone, for the birthday wishes. That's very, very kind. Oh, my goodness. You started talking about the wine without me. How rude. Lovely to see you. Who was on first? Was it David? Oh, my God. Fiona. Woo! Hello, Fiona. Hello, Alison, Kay. What's Kay said? Oh, you found last year's tasting of the wine. June last year. Excellent. Nareem, hello to all the dyes. Hello, David. Hello, Rita. Lovely to see you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Peter and Karen. Who else is here? Dan, hello. Oh gosh, everyone, you're getting all sorts of things going on with this wine. Pine nuts. David Inchley, here's a breakdown of what to expect for an average August the 14th in Melbourne. Maximum temperature around 15 degrees, minimum temperature around 6 degrees. I think it got up to 17 here, so that was nice. Can you hear me now, Alison? Can people hear me now? Alison said she's got, Rita said she couldn't. She's got no sound, but that might have been because I wasn't talking yet. 20 there, David. How lovely. Oh, good, Alison, good. Hopefully Rita can hear me as well. Good. Yeah, no, I was a little bit late, Rita, and you guys had all started talking about the wine already, so I just had to catch up. It's been a busy day, not doing much at all. Polly's here. Hello, Pol. Hang on, Polly's there. Behind the chair. And it sounds like you guys have all drunk all your wine already. What's Cotty got? John and Cotty are waiting for Jerusalem artichoke tart. Yum, that sounds very delicious. It has been such a beautiful day. I know what my birthday is like. Yes, it's been gorgeous here in Moorooduc. We've just come back from the dog walk and fed the dogs. And what else have I done today? Got ready for you guys, of course. Polly's feeling much better. Thank you, Peter and Karen. I'd better get some wine in my glass, though, because I think you're all ahead of me. And then I'll tell you all my stories. Robinson 2012. So Peter double-checked and I looked in my box. So 2012, hopefully that's what everyone's got. Kay, I think you were saying, oh, God, this is a really tight screw cap. Got it. Alison's has a limey colour. I think one of the lovely things about the screw cap is that it does keep the colour in the wine really nicely. Cotty, you did feel the earthquake. I did not. It's all right, Kate. It doesn't happen very often. Hello, Michael. Lovely to see you. It is a beautiful day and a beautiful day for a glass or two of 2012 Robinson. I did not hear or feel the earthquake. Peter sent me a message this morning saying, happy birthday, did you enjoy your earthquake? But I was fast asleep at 4:30, whenever it happened. And so that was, didn't wake me up, didn't wake Polly up. So for those of you who did feel it, Cotty, did it do any damage? Did it throw anything on the ground? Hopefully nothing's broken in the house. Alison, I hope you're saying no to the to not feeling the earthquake rather than something else going horribly wrong. Wow, that does smell good, doesn't it? It does have a slight greeny, kind of a dark limey green kind of colour. This wine is just beautiful. Thank you, Michael. I'm glad you like it. I love it. 2012 was a really quite restrained vintage when we first released it, and we felt that it was going to show itself a bit better with some age, so we put some down. And what a lovely opportunity to be able to share it with you today. No damage, said Cotty. 3.9 magnitude at Main Ridge. Wow, that's full on. Hello, Jeff and Sue. Thank you. Peter's just brought me some oysters. Oh, Peter, you're the best. Yay! Two different sorts.
And that's natural.
Oh, okay, but they're from the same oyster bed. Sydney rock oysters, good. Glad they're not from Adelaide. No. Love Adelaide, but that algae bloom thing that they're having going on suggests to me that oysters from that part of the world are not great to eat. These are my oysters. I've got 2 with dressing on them and 2 without, which is awesome. Fiona, you had Sydney Rock from the Big Fish. I think that's where ours came from as well. You didn't know, but David did, and you had some prawns maybe. So why did I pick oysters? Well, partly because Jill and Peter and Richard are putting together a birthday dinner for me after this. And Jill said that she was planning to serve oysters to start. And I said, okay, that's a good reason for us to have oysters with drinks with Kate. And I think that even an aged Chardonnay like this, when it's Robinson, when it's got that beautiful acid line to it. Tallulah, shush. She's barking at Peter, who's walking out the front door. This is such a youthful wine, but it has some evolution. It has some tertiary characters as well. So let's go through it properly. On the nose, I'm getting, some people were saying pine nuts before. I am getting a nuttiness, but for me it's more cashew nuts and a little bit of pistachio in the nut profile. There's a bit of, there's still that lovely lemon line to it that we always get in the Robinson Chardonnay, but it's developing from fresh lemon juice to almost kind of preserved lemons and dried lemon slices. It's quite it's concentrated down the lemoniness, which is rather lovely. Yes, Michael, I believe that it still does have plenty of acid, and that's why I matched it to oysters tonight. A wine like this, the acid shouldn't go away. If it's got good acid when it's young, it should have good acid when it's older. And the Robinson Chardonnay always has this lovely linear kind of character. Hello, Zach and Jack. Thank you very much. I'm having a lovely birthday, culminating with tasting wine with you guys. So we're just talking about the wine on the nose. It's got a really nutty, kind of lemony, but quite savoury aroma. It is quite difficult to describe. I wish I'd kind of read your descriptions a bit more closely before I started, but I was in a bit of a rush. There is a bit of white blossom there still, Fiona, I agree. And it's got a sort of a biscuity, almost shortbready, but slightly Parmesan cheesy biscuity character, if I may say. For those of you who might have made the Parmesan cheesy biscuits, I think that they will be fabulous with this wine as well. Craig's at Pilau in Sydney. Hello, Craig. Lovely to see you guys. Enjoy your truffle dinner tonight, and enjoy the wine tomorrow night. Cheers to Craig and Karen. I'm assuming that Joan is not out with you, but that's probably a foolish assumption for me to make. He's probably not watching anymore. Shortbread, yes, but almost a savoury shortbread, I reckon, Alison, because it's not sweet. The Peter and Karen, I was going to say I think Peter and Karen made the biscuits. They're fabulous with the wine. The biscuits are a little bit cheeky because as Peter and Karen sent me a photo, if you chop the olives up in kind of chopped chip sized chunks, then they look like chopped chip cookies when they come out of the oven, which might be a little bit of a shock to the system for someone who grabs it thinking they're getting something sweet, because they're quite savoury and cheesy and lovely. Nareem, you popped out to collect Keely from the station. What have you missed? You'll have to read back. Not much. We've just been rabbiting on a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of roast fennel on the nose of this wine as well. It's not fresh fennel. It's roast fennel that's been in the oven for quite a while, sort of slow cooked, with a bit, maybe even with a bit of lemon juice squeezed over the top of it. Lemon curd, says Cotty. Yep, absolutely. And Shell's, hello Shell and Andrew. Shell's getting a bit of Scotch finger biscuit, which was Reggie's favourite. We just ate the last of Reggie's Scotch finger biscuits the other day. That's a bit sad. Anyway, not wanting to bring the mood down. Nareem's Parmesan and olive biscuits are in the oven. Well, they will be a treat for you when they come out. They're lovely. They're good to eat, I reckon. Not hot out of the oven. Give them a couple of minutes to cool down, but warm out of the oven. They're pretty special. And then let some of them cool down and have them cold too, because they get a bit crunchier when they're cold. They set better. A classic K roast chook and shardy, says Fiona. Okay. Kate Barrett's having roast chicken from Ready Red Rooster. It's a good match. Chicken with lots of chicken salt on it would be absolutely fabulous with this. You could also go down the chicken sandwiches route. You could, I think it's more of either an oyster wine or a chicken wine rather than a general seafood wine, but you could do it with other seafood as well. It would work quite well with lobster. Not Red Rooster, Ready Roast. Oh, sorry, Kay. Apologies. I'm not very good at my different. I presume that Ready Roast makes it a better class of roast chicken than Red Rooster. I'm getting a character on the nose that I'm finding really hard to describe, and it's reminding me a little bit of black truffles. It's reminding me a little bit of, it's not quite mushroomy, but it's almost going into a petroleum kind of thing, but not in an unpleasant way. We talk about kerosene and petrol when we're talking about aged Riesling, but I do see a little bit of that character coming through in aged Chardonnay. Sometimes I'm getting a little bit of that, but it's kind of, it's sort of earthy, truffly kind of a note in there that's quite hard to get. Full on roast veggie dinner with veggies, etc. Sounds really good, Kay. Rita's got red roast chicken with herbs, butter and potatoes soaked in the juices. Sounds delicious. Michael would have reminded me of the Cheval Blanc in Sideways Red Rooster indeed. I know. Well, every now and again you can go trashy and go to the fast food people. I know that Craig wanted us to do a McDonald's match earlier in the year, and I rejected that as an option. But, maybe we should do some, no, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. Doesn't mean that you can't do it if that's what floats your boat. Maybe a dim sim and wine matching competition, something like that. Anyway, we'll work on that. Fiona could do Red Rooster over Macca's any day. Me too. The only reason I think I haven't eaten Red Rooster for a long time because I'm pretty sure it's not free range chook. So I have a bit of a soft spot for Red Rooster chicken because we used to have it when I was at uni. Chardonnay and Macca's chicken nuggets. Dan, chicken nuggets don't have any chicken in them from Macca's. They're made from reconstituted fish protein that gets blobbed down and then returned into fake chicken. I saw that on television once, so I'm sure it's absolutely true. Okay, pizza topping match. Jackie wants to know Jerusalem artichoke. Hang on, I'll come back to that in a minute, Jackie. I'm just reading people's, because Coddy's just said that the wine works well with the tart. The Jerusalem artichokes are cooked with lemon, which matches the wine really well. That's really interesting, Coddy, because artichokes, particularly Jerusalem artichokes, are quite a tricky match to wine generally. They have a bitterness to them that is brought out more by wine, all wine flavours. So I find Jerusalem artichokes quite hard to match to wine. So it's how the tart goes together and what things are cooked with and all that kind of thing, I think is really important with something like that. So I'm glad it works. Shell added oregano and feta to hot chips, and it changes the wine completely. Still tasty, but the sweetness gone. Ruru's unique notes. I think I missed what you were eating tonight, Shell. You must have talked about it before I came on board at the beginning, maybe, possibly. But if you haven't talked about it, then that's okay too. But I'm glad that it's working. I think that certainly certain cheese would be really, really good with this, not just Gruyere, but we know we love the Gruyere with an aged Chardonnay. I think Feta is also a good match to an aged Chardonnay. Rita wants to know why the colour of the wine is so deep. That is age, battered flake and chips, excellent shell. I do think this is a good fish and chip wine as well. So Rita, the colour of this wine has evolved with time, and that's the aging process. So you usually do get some deepening of colour of Chardonnay and browning of colour of red varieties as they age. Depending on each individual wine, it will be different, but this wine has evolved colour with age. Absolutely, it was much paler when it was younger. Nareem's butterfly roast chicken is yet to go in the oven. Might have to have the second bottle with that. I think that would be a very good idea. All right, I have to have an oyster with this in a minute. On the palate, I think this has got more oyster-friendly flavours. I think that truffly kind of nutty notes on the nose might make you think it was a bit too rich to match to oysters, but when you put it on your palate, it's got that really lovely zesty lemony line to it still. It's got a real chalky minerality to it. It's slightly reminiscent of oyster shells. So I'm going to have a plain oyster first. Peter's been very environmentally friendly and used baking paper to prop up the oysters rather than salt. I don't know if it does anything either, but it looks nice. And the oyster tastes good. Yum. So that's a very oystery oyster, as they are at this time of year. On its own, the oyster's just redolent of the ocean, and it kind of knocks some of that nuttiness out of the wine and really brings up the lemoniness and the salty, minerally notes in the wine on the palate particularly. I think the iodine in the oyster brings out a slightly iodine-y kind of flavour in the wine too, which maybe doesn't sound very delicious, but I think is pretty yummy. I'm going to have some oyster now with Jill's little mignonette dressing, which I believe is just some shallot and some red wine vinegar. So it'll bring a bit more acid from the vinegar in there, but also some sweetness and some sulfides from the onions as well. Yum. That's a really good dressing. Kind of overwhelming that little oyster though a little bit. It was pretty good with the wine, but it's one of those things. I love an oyster with a mignonette dressing, but I probably have that separate from the wine. So eat the oyster and the dressing, have a little beat, and then have some wine. Your oysters are on the small side as well, Fiona. I reckon we've got the same oysters because ours are small. They're really tasty though. Winter oysters are the best. Now, I know I've spoken to you guys about this, but winter oysters are so much better. No, it's okay. Thank you. I can cope with small oysters. The dressing. Oh, the dressing. No, I'm going to eat it because it's delicious, but I'm going to have it and then I'm going to have the wine after. Thank you, Peter. Lovely little mouthful of oysteriness. Yeah, winter oysters are the best because the water's cold, so the oysters have more flavour to them. They're not spawning, so they don't get that creamy kind of weird texture to them. And a lot of people say, oh, you can't eat oysters because it's too cold outside, eating cold oysters, cold outside. But I think, cold oysters, a nice glass of beautiful Chardonnay, and a cold outside, nice warm inside, perfect. So it's become a little bit of a family tradition that we have oysters on my birthday. We had 2 lockdown birthdays over 20 and 21 where we ate lots of oysters, and Jeremy and Jeff shucked them for us. Jeff didn't know he could shuck oysters until he came to my birthday party and learned how to shuck oysters, and I was absolutely Certainly he was going to stab himself in the hand, but he managed not to, and he actually became quite a good oyster shucker. So not sure if you're still shucking oysters out there, Jeff, but good on you. So I'm very glad to be continuing on the tradition with the oysters. So why do oysters go so well with Chardonnay? Coming back to brioche on the nose, Fiona's saying, yep, I reckon there's definitely that brioche, slightly honeyed note, but there's that, again, that weird sort of savoury, almost petrol-y note as well coming through, which I'm not describing it very well because it sounds awful. It might be even like a lemon oil kind of a note. Diesel, slightly diesely. Doesn't sound great for wine, but it's working in this wine. Oysters are great with this kind of wine because lactones, you're talking about that savoury character, Fiona. I'm not sure what lactones are. That's a bit too scientific for me. I'm sorry. Feel free to expand on that. I do think, though, that the lemony ness of the wine, even as it's aged, really works well with oysters, and that minerally note on the palate is really beautiful. I'm going to have another. Yeah, tell us about lactones, Fiona. I don't know anything. I don't know. I've never heard of them before, Alison. So we're going to have to rely on Fiona to type us a explanation. Scallops would work very well with this wine, Cotty. I would have them pan-seared in butter. I just put a bit of lemon juice on my last oyster because I thought that might work with the... Thank you, Peter. The mighty, mighty lactones, says Peter. Music reference. I think that the lemon on the oyster, again, the lemon's quite strong for the oysters because they're little and sweet. I think the oysters are almost better just on their own with the Chardonnay, but the lemon brings up the lemoniness of the wine and also brings out some of the richness of the wine, which is quite nice. Okay, what are people saying? Yeah, Cody, scallops would work really well with this wine. Scallops in butter with a lemony like hollandaise kind of a sauce would be nice. I think even, as I said before, things like there's a bit of talking going on in the background which is distracting me, but I'll try and push on. Lobster, Moreton Bay bugs, those kind of things I think would work very well with this wine as well. I'm not so sure about prawns, but Fee, you said that you were having prawns, so you can tell us how that goes with the wine. So Fiona's also said that lactones are yummy smelling volatile chemicals. So good. I think that could cover it. And Michael's asking, would I prefer this to a Sancerre with oysters or a Bordeaux Semillon Sauvignon Blanc? I would, Michael, my personal preference, but I would always prefer a quality Chardonnay to Sancerre or Bordeaux Semillon Sauvignon Blanc. It's just the way that I'm put together. If I was going to sub something out for this Moorooduc wine, I'd sub in a quality Premier Cru Chablis, would be delicious with the oysters. I'd have a champagne with the oysters, particularly if it was a Blanc de Blanc, so Chardonnay based. I think that the flavours of Chardonnay, when they're quite restrained and fine, work better for me with oysters. But if you go to the Loire, and probably you're more likely to be on the coast and drinking Muscadet rather than Sancerre with oysters in the Loire. If you go to Bordeaux, they will serve you oysters with Semillon Sauvignon Blanc. But if you're in Paris and you're eating oysters, then the go-to is Chablis. And I don't think this is a Chablis-like wine, but it is Chardonnay. It's high acid. it has different flavour profiles being from where it comes from rather than from Chablis, but it has some of that minerality and some of that chalkiness that Chablis also has that works really well with oysters. So that is my argument for high acid textural Chardonnay with oysters. You don't want a big, rich, buttery Chardonnay with oysters. That's not going to work. But I think that something like this that's, fine and elegant and linear and delicious works really, really well. Nareem's got the biscuits out of the oven and they're going beautifully with the wine. Excellent. I knew they would. For those of you who haven't made those biscuits, that's a recipe that we got from our friend Lisa O'Keefe, who got them from a friend of hers. They're very easy to make. I believe I haven't made them myself, but everyone, Mum and Lisa both said they're very easy to make, so I believe them. And they're very tasty. They're good. They're a good little nibble to start off with before a dinner party or something like that. And they're great with a Chardonnay like this. If you don't have Parmesan cheese, you could put some other types of cheese into them and have a play around. You can make them with or without the olives. Have a bit of a muck around. You could sprinkle a bit of paprika on top if you wanted a bit of spiciness. That works well too. Peter and Karen say they're also very easy to make. Dan is saying that Paige had some prawns and it was a good match. Okay, cool. And Fiona said the prawns are nutty, so they go okay. Oh yeah, that's true. They would bring out the nuttiness in the wine more than the lemoniness and the ocean, the salty ocean characters in the wine. Some people would argue that you would want to have a younger Chardonnay with oysters, and perhaps that's right, but I'm pretty happy with the match. And because it's my birthday and I like to eat oysters and drink delicious Chardonnay on my birthday, then in my mind it's the perfect match. So 2012 Chardonnay, interestingly, we're having a very Chardonnay week this week because some of you will have noticed that we put out an offer to those of you who are in the wine club for the new Chardonnay, the 2024, which is delicious. So thank you for those of you who have already ordered some. I don't think you'll be disappointed in any way, shape or form. That wine is looking beautiful. It's drinking well now. It needs a bit of air, but it will also age really, really well. So it's very delicious. Alison, I'm never going to say no to this wine either. And we have a little bit of this wine. So again, if you're in the wine club, if you've subscribed to Drinks with Kate or you're in the wine club with another subscription, I believe this, Peter, is this wine on the wine club purchasing plan? If it's not, then we will make sure that it goes up there. It's on the list of things to go up on the, yeah, if it's not there already. There's a really lovely kind of almost truffled honey kind of a note coming off the nose now, which I think's beautiful and works really well. I think you could match this wine to sort of an Italian pasta dish with creme fraiche and some fish roe or caviar through it as well would be rather lovely. And I didn't forget, I think Rita, maybe someone asked about the best pizza flavours to go with this wine. I think pizza is quite a difficult match to a wine like this. I would want my pizza not to have any tomato on it if I was going to try and match it to this wine. I think a white-based pizza that maybe had some taleggio on it, taleggio and mozzarella, just keep it sort of cheesy, would go quite well with this wine. Possibly a prawn pizza, if that's the kind of thing that you're into, could work with this. A classic pizza, though, I think would be hard to match this because a lot of the white pizzas in Italy have a bit of gorgonzola. Oh, okay, absolutely. Potato pizza with some good cheese, taleggio or otherwise, would work really well. Peter and Karen want to know, would it work with pasta and bottega? Yes, I think it would. Bottega is kind of pressed fish roe that the Italians salt dry, and then sort of pressed into a block, and you grate it onto your pasta, and it's very salty and very fish roey and rather delicious. I think that this wine could handle some anchovy on a pizza as well. potato pizza with some good cheese and maybe some anchovy would be rather good. Michael's going to take it to Pizza Hut and drink it in a polystyrene cup just to test the limits. Michael, I think it'll taste slightly less good in a polystyrene cup and at Pizza Hut, but I think you'll still enjoy the wine. So there you go. There's a challenge for you. Rita wants to know, is the lemon character linked to the year, weather, location of vines? We always get a lemoniness out of the Robinson vineyard for Chardonnay, Rita. So I think it's got a lot to do with the site and the vines that are planted on that site, because they're slightly different clones to the vines that we've got planted in the McIntyre vineyard. It's very lemon focused when it's young, and that lemon evolves but stays in the wine as it ages, and I think that's a really special character of the Robinson Chardonnay. I think those of you who drink a bit of Robinson Chardonnay and maybe have been drinking the younger versions of it recently will know that when it's younger, it's a bit narrower, a bit more focused. As it ages, it develops some richness on the palate and gets that kind of, what we're talking about. There was a bit of shortbread and a bit of brioche. Get some of those baked goods coming into the mix to kind of give it a bit more richness on the palate, but it's still got that lovely linear acidity and it's still got that lemon line to it as well. It is on the website. Pete says if you're in the wine club, you can log in and buy the 2012 Robinson Chardonnay right now if you wanted to. Jill said, get in fast. We're not doing a hard sell, Jill. It's a soft sell. Kay's getting a hint of jasmine on the nose now, definite minerality. Nareem, the wine goes with everything and nicely on its own. I agree. It's a delicious wine. It's a beautiful aperitif wine. Jill's loving it over there with and without her oysters. I just think the 12s are in a really lovely place at the moment, and it just goes to show for me that a lot of our wines are lovely to drink when they're young, but we probably drink a lot of them a bit too young because they do really fabulous things with age. So 2012, that makes it 13 years old now. Yes, Dad saying my maths is correct. 13, my lucky number. It's taken all that time for this wine to kind of develop the personality that it's got right now. And I think, 8 years ago, it was pretty tight, it was pretty fine, it was pretty linear. And a lot of people kind of passed over it because they thought it was a bit simple. I often read reviews of both our estate Chardonnay and the Robinson Chardonnay, more so than the McIntyre Chardonnay, because people go, the McIntyre Chardonnay, that's a bit more complex, bit broader shoulder, whatever. But the Robinson Chardonnay and the estate Chardonnay, when they're young, a lot of people mistake their tightly wound character for simplicity. And they do have a straightforwardness to them and a linearity and an immediacy to them, which is really appealing. But a lot of people say to me, the Robinson Chardonnays won't age the way the McIntyre Chardonnay ages. And while I say they won't age in the same way that the McIntyre Chardonnay ages, we're finding that they're aging for as long and as well as the McIntyre Chardonnays that we've made when we thought they were sort of relatively equal quality when they were young. And we've been making the Robinson Chardonnay as a single vineyard wine that we think was of a high enough quality to have a single vineyard wine price to it, be out in the world as a single vineyard wine since 2010. So, this was only the third Robinson Chardonnay that we made, and 2011 was very weird. So 2012 was a year that kind of came off the back of that cold, wet, sunshineless summer of 2011. And the vines were sort of a bit damaged from that whole 12 months of 2011. and we're still struggling in 2012. So Alison, yes, the 2012 vintage was a bit of an awkward vintage. The vines were a bit tired from being wet for so long, and we always loved the wines that we made from 2012. But they didn't do very well out in the reviews. And I probably should have, whenever I get here to talk to you guys, I go, oh, I should have done that prep for this chat. But I think if you go back and look at the Halliday Wine Companion, if you've got the book, that would have been 2014 or 15 that they reviewed the 2012s, maybe 2013. But we usually didn't put them forward for that until a year or so after the wine had been bottled. And they didn't do great. They didn't do dreadfully, but they kind of, people missed how delicious they were. And I think it's just lovely to be looking at them now with a bit of age and seeing how well they are going. Peter and Karen had a 2012 Estate Chardonnay last night. It was delicious. Well, lucky old you for having some still in the cellar. That's fantastic. Fiona has a huge soft spot for the Robos, both the Chardonnay and the Pinot. I know you do. Which is awesome. So yes, absolutely drink the Robinsons young, drink them with age. They are delicious, and it's really lovely to share this with you guys on my birthday, birthday celebration wine. Did you have something you wanted to say, Dad? You were looking like you, no, okay. Alison saying an ugly baby often grows into a beautiful adult. That's really nice, Alison. I was quite an ugly baby. I was bald for quite a long time in my early years. And look how beautiful I am. I was beautiful as well as bald. About 2. Yeah, I blossomed into a beautiful child at about 2. And then it was all downhill after that. Hey, Jill? I'm trying to remember what we're tasting next week, so I'm hoping that Pete might be able to look it up for me while I blather on a bit more. Little bit of aniseed coming through in that wine now, as well as the roasted fennel that I was saying before. And I think someone else said aniseed earlier on. It's still changing in the glass, and I think after sort of 40 minutes of tasting. Oh, that's right, Michael. We're doing the Shiraz, and we're going to match it to goat's cheese. Shiraz 21, the new Shiraz. Rita wants to know what cheese I would pair with it. That's easy, Rita. I would pair this wine to a really high quality aged Gruyere, and not an Australian Gruyere style cheese, but a proper Gruyere from France. One of those ones that has one of the old ones that's sort of 10, 15, 20 years old, and it has little crystalline, crunchy bits of salt through it, and caramelized milk in the cheese works really, really well with this wine. If you can't get really good Gruyere, it's going to work really well with things like, it's going to work with Taleggio, it's going to, as Fiona says, all the cheeses. The cheeses that it won't work with will be blue cheese. I don't think it's great with like a brie or a camembert style cheese, really personally, or a washed rind cheese, I think is a bit tangy for something like this. Michael's going to be joining us from Broome, going AC for the tasting. Oh, nice work. Kay has found us a tasting note for this wine from Dijon Clones 95 and 90. Thank you for typing this out, Kay. With cloudy juice, wild fermented in French oak, stone fruit, melon and hazelnut aromas, set the scene for the elegant, calm and hurry palate. Both this and the Moorooduc are of high quality, but are very different expositions of Chardonnay. Well, there you go. That's quite nice. Thank you, Kay. Do you have a number point mark for this? Because they tended to like write nice words and then give it like a 89 or a 91 or something, which I think this wine deserves a gold. 95 points. Oh, well, there you go. I remembered incorrectly. We got quite a nice review for this wine, and it's still looking good today. Thank you, Kay. I should do my research before I shoot my mouth off. Fiona went to the Hillsville Cheesemonger the other day. Highly recommended. Delicious. That's really nice, Kay. Thank you. And I think that description still quite well describes this wine. Not so much melon or stone fruit, more lemony kind of notes. The hazelnut's kind of gone into pistachio. Pistachio notes, as Pete saying over on the other side of the room. Someone else said something. So yes, get onto Nareem. The dies got onto Gruyere because of me and never look back. Love it, have it all the time. My pleasure. You're welcome. It's one of my favourite hard cheeses from France. It's when it's good, it's really, really good. So yeah, absolutely go the Gruyere with aged Chardonnay, particularly aged Chardonnay like this. It's got good acidity. So Peter's saying, what about Pine-Garner cheddar? I love Pine-Garner cheddar. I don't think it goes very well with old Chardonnay. It's a bit too tangy and a bit too lactic. The thing about Gruyere, cheese. The thing about Gruyere compared to cheddar is that they cook the milk before they start turning it into cheese. And so you get a sort of a caramelized note from the lacanes in the milk because they've been cooked. And then they put salt through it, which then crystallizes it as it ages into little crunchy nodules in the cheese. So there's something really special about Gruyere. It's also made from special milk from special cows in special part of the high country of France. So, there's a taste to Gruyere that is that slightly caramelized milk flavour. They warm the milk for cheddar, Peter and Karen, but I don't think they cook it as much, so they don't caramelize the milk. I could be wrong. I'll go and do some reading up on cheese before next week because I think we're going to do our cheese experimentation tasting with the 2021 Shiraz. So we'll do soft goat's milk curd as per Michael's suggestion. We'll do some cheddar. We might whack in some Gruyere if you feel like it, just for the fun of it, and a soft cheese and maybe even a blue cheese. So I'll send you a list of my recommended cheeses to do a little compare and contrast to go with the Shiraz. That'll be nice and classically Australian because we always think that we need to have cheese with Shiraz. Shell, you can have cashew cheese. I won't be doing that. And Emily and Kevin, I don't think you're on tonight, but I'll think of something other than cheese for those of you who prefer to be dairy-free or have to be dairy-free, because I don't think that vegan cheeses are going to do the trick with the Shiraz. So I'll give you an alternative or a dinner match to go with the Shiraz after we've done the cheese tasting. But if you want to come along with the cheese tasting, even with a couple of the cheeses that I suggest, I'll tell you the ones that I think will work and the ones that I think might not work, and we'll do a little mix of both of them. Kay likes her cranberry cheese. Is it a cranberry infused cheddar, Kay? Very interested to hear more about that. I agree, Connie. Shell needs at least 3 exclamation marks for that question. I am going to now love you and leave you. I'm giving Kay a moment to let me know more about this cranberry cheese, but maybe you can send me an email or a text if there are any cheeses that you guys want to match up to the Shiraz. The 2021 Shiraz we haven't tasted before. It's just been released at Cellar Door. Cranberry, Yorkshire, Finest, British, Yorkshire, Wensleydale. Aha. Okay. So it's Wensleydale, but it's got cranberry through it. Sounds interesting. I'm a bit of a cheese purist. I want my cheese to be cheese all the way through rather than cheese with bits studded through it, but that's okay. Each to their own, and I'm very happy to taste some things. Shadows of Blue, Jackie, is going to be absolutely awful with the Shiraz, but get some and try it because you might disagree with me. I love Shadows of Blue, Shadows of Blue would be great with the 2014 Pinot Gris. It would be delicious with also with a Sauterne or a Botrytis style, a high quality Botrytis style wine, but not really with Shiraz, because the flavors will clash. But anyway, we'll talk about that more next week. Gonna love you and leave you. I'm off to have my birthday dinner now. So yeah, it might not work with the Shiraz, Jackie, but get a little bit and try it. You can always pop it aside and eat it the next day with your aged Chardonnay. It's been delightful spending the evening with you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Chardonnay if you've got any left. Thank you again for all your very kind birthday wishes. And I'll see you back here again next Thursday with the 2021 Shiraz and a lovely selection of cheeses. Cotty, I don't know what's on the menu for my birthday dinner. It's a surprise. There might be some more oysters, but apart from that, I don't know. I'm going to go downstairs and find out. So I shall report back. Thanks, everyone. Take it easy. Happy birthday. And I'll see you next week. Cheers.